Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. Today we are going to see class 10 science chapter 5 life processes. Today we are going to see the previous year questions. So let's start with the questions. Here we have given the marks also, like whether it is 2 mark question, 1 mark question, 3 marks or 5 marks, and also in which year paper it came, your CBSE board examination. So this question has appeared in 2023 and 2020. Yes, let's start with the question. What advantage over an aquatic organism does a terrestrial organism have with regard to obtaining oxygen for respiration? In air, actually we have 21% of oxygen, and in water, oxygen is dissolved. So terrestrial organisms, they obtain more oxygen and they breathe slowly. But aquatic organisms have to pump more water in order to get the dissolved oxygen. That is why terrestrial organisms have efficient lungs with alveoli for extraction. What are the different ways in which glucose is oxidized to provide energy in various organisms? The 3 mark question. Note down children. It is in 2020 and appeared in 2008. So different ways in which glucose is oxidized. The first process always the glucose which is 6 molecule, 6 carbon molecule is converted to pyruvate 3 carbon molecule where it is happening in the cytoplasm. And then comes the 3 pathway. Aerobic respiration in presence of oxygen happens in the mitochondria. Pyruvate is converted to carbon dioxide, water and some energy, which happens in human beings. Anaerobic respiration happens in absence of oxygen. This one happens in yeast, so happens in the cytoplasm. So pyruvate is converted into ethanol, carbon dioxide and some energy. And then another anaerobic respiration happens in the muscle cells. So what happens in the muscle cells? Pyruvate is converted to lactic acid and to ATP molecule, nothing but energy. So how is oxygen and carbon dioxide transported in human beings? This appeared in 2023 and 2017. It's a 3 mark question. So hemoglobin, oxygen transport, how it is occurring by means of hemoglobin in RBC, which has a high affinity for oxygen. So from the lungs, what happens is oxygen molecule binds to this hemoglobin and it forms oxyhemoglobin, and it is released into the each and every cells for cellular respiration. Carbon dioxide is more soluble in water than oxygen. So it is transported by means of plasma. So it is dissolved in the plasma, so easily it is transported. So where from the tissues is going to the blood, lungs, exhaled, same process carries out. So without a hemoglobin, oxygen could take 3 years to reach toes by diffusion process. How are the lungs designed in human beings to maximize the area of for exchange of gases? The 3 mark question. So when it has appeared in 2024 and 2020 and 2016. So alveoli, bronchioles terminate in balloon-like alveoli. Yes. So the surface area is approximately 80 meters square if you spread out it. Then they are thin wall and easy gas diffusion takes place. They have a very rich blood supply and then residual air also. So continuous exchange of gases will happen there, and then breathing. So what happens? Ribs will lift, diaphragm flattens and our chest expands. That is why air is sucked in. What are the differences between aerobic and anaerobic respiration? Name organisms using anaerobic mode. This question already we have discussed in our previous videos. Yes, just go to respiration chapter and go through this, children. I have given in the form of a tabular column. It will be very helpful for you. So let's see some key points for this. So aerobic respiration, it requires oxygen. Where is happening in the cytoplasm, that pyruvate conversion, and then happens in the mitochondria where the complete breakdown happens. So carbon dioxide, water and enormous amount of energy is released. Whereas happening in humans and plants. Anaerobic respiration, no oxygen is needed, only cytoplasm it is happening. Incomplete breakdown happens and ethanol and carbon dioxide where in the yeast or lactic acid in the muscle, that is in the human beings, and some energy is released. So organisms yeast, we call the process as the fermentation, and certain bacteria and human muscles is temporary during intense exercise. What would be the consequence of a deficiency of hemoglobin in our bodies? So it's a 2 mark question. So it came the board exam in 2020 and 2016. So reduced oxygen supply to tissues, cells can't respire efficiently, right? So anemia. Sometimes the doctors also used to check us and tell you are very anemic. Yes. So what happens? Breathlessness, fatigue, and then weakness and pale skin will have less ATP production, and also we feel very tired. And body compensate by increasing heart rate and breathing, but it is not sufficient. Next question. The breakdown of pyruvate to give carbon dioxide, water and energy takes place in, where it is taking place in mitochondria. So glucose is converted into pyruvate which occurs in the cytoplasm, but pyruvate is converted into carbon dioxide, water and more enormous amount. Here 38 ATP molecules are given, yes. So more enormous amount of energy is released where in the mitochondria. So that is why mitochondria is a powerhouse of the cell. So it's a 1 mark question. When it came? Yeah, it came last year, CBSE 2025. In aerobic respiration, glucose breakdown to pyruvate and its further conversion to carbon dioxide occurs respectively in vacuole and cytoplasm, chloroplast and mitochondria, mitochondria and cytoplasm, cytoplasm and mitochondria. Where it is occurring generally happens in cytoplasm first, then mitochondria. So in cytoplasm, glucose will be converted to pyruvate and pyruvate will be converted into carbon dioxide, water and energy, where it happens in mitochondria. There's a 1 mark question. Yes, 2025. Athletes suffer from muscle cramps while running. Why? How does this differ from aerobic respiration? Generally, when they will get during any intense activity or intense exercise, oxygen supply will be not, it won't be sufficient to the muscle cells. So during that times, muscles switch to anaerobic respiration and the glucose present there will be converted into lactic acid and little bit of energy will be released. This lactic acid, it causes intense painful cramps in the muscles. So differences are aerobic respiration, actually it needs oxygen, happens in the mitochondria and complete breakdown. That is why enormous amount of energy is produced. Anaerobic respiration, it happens in absence of oxygen. It happens in cytoplasm only. So incomplete lactic acid is produced and some ATP. During anaerobic respiration, a 3-carbon molecule is formed. Explain. It's a 3-mark question and it came the board exam in 2024. So what happens here? What is a 3-carbon molecule here? So in the muscles cells during oxygen deficiency, pyruvate, which is a 3-carbon, and also lactic acid, which is a 3-carbon, yes, and some energy is released. This is an anaerobic respiration happening in the muscle cells. So because of the lactic acid production, what happens? It will cause some pain in the or some cramps in the muscles. So unlike yeast, see yeast undergo the fermentation process where ethanol is formed. Ethanol is a 2-carbon molecule. So this muscle anaerobic product retains 3 carbons. Yes, we have come to the last part, children. So go through all these questions. These are some board questions from the respiration part of the life process lesson. Yes, that's all for today's class. Thank you.